Okay. Considering a few things this evening, during a time of meditation and contemplation, thinking of the first noble truth, the Buddha said, the first noble truth that the Buddha said was that in this life there is suffering. That in this life there is suffering. Huh? And it just keeps it real simple. There is. There is suffering. Now, if I take it from there, okay, can I trust that the universe is benevolent? Yeah? Do I trust the universe is benevolent? Okay. Or do I think it's malignant? If it's benevolent, then whatever is here, whatever is, right? Whatever is here for me. Huh? For me to grow into being more compassionate, more empathetic, more gentle, sensitive, and such. And so there is suffering, a very noble truth, yes. Jesus in the Bible, he said that in this world, you're going to have suffering. In this world, you will have suffering. You'll have tribulation. You'll have suffering. The Buddha said, there is suffering. Jesus said, there is suffering. Here it is. There is suffering. I have never met anybody in the world yet who has told me that there's no suffering here. Everyone suffers somewhat, right? That's a truth. It's a truth that we all suffer. But if I think that the universe is benevolent, then it's here for me, right? We were just talking about that, yeah. The suffering that is here isn't wrong simply just because it's here. Yeah? There's nothing wrong with what is. If we really need to grasp that. There's nothing wrong with what is. We suffer when we make judgments about the rightness and wrongness of what is or what was. Huh? Do we not? Yeah. But what if we just sat with what is as if we're willing to be right along with what's being? And not try to separate ourselves from it, but rather to allow ourselves to be with what's being. Yeah. Is there suffering there? Yes. So what I'm talking about isn't that it's wrong to suffer at all. We need to, and we'll understand that in a bit. But we need to be able to suffer the suffering. We need to be able to suffer the suffering, to permit it, to allow it, to be here and manifest and do its work and do its job. If suffering is put on my plate by life today, it's food for me to digest. If suffering is giving me the bread of affliction, if life is putting on my plate the bread of affliction, I need to suffer the suffering. I need to be able to accept it. there is suffering. It starts with acceptance. A lot of people don't want to accept there is suffering, and they'll try to put on a fake smile or put on some kind of a personality or ego trip to act as if they're not suffering when they are, because they think it's wrong to suffer. And so they're not real. They're not real. Yeah, but it's not wrong to suffer. It's not about being right and wrong here. If we think it's wrong to suffer, then we're going to go into denial of it. We're going to try to put on this play and act as if that we're not when we are. But it's cool. It's okay to suffer. It's okay not to be okay. And it's also okay to be okay. So it's okay not to suffer just as well as it's okay to suffer. It goes both directions. It's okay to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. Yeah. Okay. So life puts suffering on my plate. I can consume it and digest it, and as I consume it and digest it, it will become a part of this body. It's feeding this body that I am. It's feeding this body of compassion. As long as I consume it willingly and digest it, it will become compassion. The suffering will become compassion. This is true. And we need compassion, don't we? We've talked about growing pains before. Well, to grow in compassion, we need some pain. We need some pain. Right? Yeah. What's wrong with pain? How are we going to be compassionate without it? In Buddhism, they would say, no mud, no lotus. Yeah? Huh? Okay. All right. So, let me sit with this a minute. There's suffering. And we take that suffering and we sit with it and we digest it and allow it to feed this body of compassion. You see, our capacity to be compassionate with other people or even ourselves is in direct correlation with the willingness that we have to hold suffering, to take that suffering in and digest it and consume it. But what happens when we don't do that is the suffering will consume us. It will eat us from the inside out if we don't consume it. When we want to wrestle with it and fight with it, rather than let it simply do its work and soften us. Soften us. Yes, pain can make us soft, or pain can make us hard. It's what we do with the pain. It can make us soft, it can make us hard. There's an old adage where the rain falls down from heaven. Over here it produces flowers, over there it produces weeds, right? But the nature of the rain is the same. And it's so with suffering, that suffering falls on everything, everybody here. The nature of the pain is the same. But over here it produces compassion, sensitivity, connection. Over here you have resentment, bitterness, hatred, defensiveness, callousness, fear. But the nature of the pain is the same. What becomes of it, what becomes of it? The rain falls on the earth, and what becomes of that is according to what's there, the seed. Yeah. There's seeds of compassion that we can water through our awareness. Through our awareness, there are seeds of compassion that we can water through our awareness. What do I mean by that? How to water our compassion with awareness. See, if I have suffered pain, and I've willingly done it and not resisted it, but I've allowed myself to have that experience, I know what that's like. An awareness of it. I'm aware of that pain. I don't try to wrestle with it, but I'm aware of it. I sit with it. Yes, there's pain. I'm feeling pain. Yeah. Aware of that pain, I come to understand what it feels like to have that pain. Aware of that pain, I come to understand what it feels like to have that pain. Now, if I'm walking in awareness as I go throughout my world, which comes from the practice of meditation, right? Contemplation, meditation, and I go out into the world, I'm aware. I'm aware of subtle things that I normally wouldn't be. I see that little teardrop in somebody's eye, or if I was in a rush and all caught up in my head and other crap, I wouldn't see that. But I see it because I'm aware. And when I see it, I feel it because I've had it. And because we're one body. You see, we're one body of humanity. So if that little teardrop in that eye that everybody else is missing, that little bit of heaviness in the continents that other people don't see. If I'm aware and I've had that experience, I can feel with them. I can feel it with them. And it's easier to have feelings if you can feel it with somebody. If I take something, some sort of object and hold it in my hand, the longer I hold it there, the heavier it gets, right? But what if I hold it in two hands? It's not as heavy, is it? Right? It's not as heavy. And that's the way pain is. When we hold pain together, it's not so heavy. And what it actually does is connect us as a body of humanity. As the body of the Christos or the Buddha or whatever you want to call it. Yeah? Yeah. Okay? But we have to be okay with suffering the suffering. We have to be okay with suffering. It's not right, it's not wrong. See, because if I think there's something wrong with it, I'm going to have the tendency to want to fix it. And when I see other people suffering, if I have this judgment, there's something wrong with suffering, instead of fueling it with them, I'm going to try to fucking fix them. And they don't need that. I can't do it to start with. But if I think there's something wrong with them suffering, I'm going to try to fix it. They don't need that. They need to hold that with them. Right? If I think there's something wrong with it, I'm not going to allow myself to suffer. If I think there's something wrong with it, instead of sitting with some discomfort while it's there, and all discomfort is impermanent. And you learn that by sitting with it. You learn that it comes in waves. It comes and it goes, it comes and it goes. It's not there forever. But while it is there, it has its purpose, right? And we talked about that. But if I think there's something wrong with me feeling suffering, or you feeling suffering, I want to fix it. what I'm going to do to fix that? I'm going to go out and get a drink. I'm going to do a shot of dope. I'm going to look at porn on the internet. I'm going to overeat. I'm going to go get lost in busyness and running around. Or binge watching TV, one show after other, just so I don't have to deal with that because it's wrong, huh? But what if I didn't see it as wrong? What if I didn't see the suffering as right or wrong? What if I didn't see the feeling I'm having as right or wrong? What if I see the thoughts that I'm having? Neither is right nor wrong. They're just there. And so because they're there for me. They're put there by a benevolent universe that we're all one. Yeah, huh? Yeah. So that a second. Yeah. So there is suffering. There's nothing wrong with having feelings. Nothing right with them either. They just are. They're just there. What is. It is what it is, as someone said. What is. That's the universe. That's life on its terms, here and now. So there's nothing wrong with having a feeling. There's nothing wrong with the feeling. The feeling is impermanent. It will come and it will go. Just as the thoughts do and all those things do. So is it wrong? So there's no problem or issue with feeling pain or feeling fear. What causes issues and stuff is when we are afraid to have the feeling. It isn't the feeling of fear that is our problem. It is the fear of feeling the fear. So sit with that a second. It's not the feeling of fear itself that is our issues. It's the fear of having that feeling of the fear. So that we fear feeling this, and we fear feeling that. And a lot of those fears are coming out of these judgments of it's right to feel this way, it's wrong to feel that way, it's right to think this way, it's wrong to think that way. And all this stuff has been programmed into us. We're conditioned to have, we've taken these notions that have been put upon us by our peers as we grew up, that it's right to feel this way, wrong to feel that way. Right to think this way, wrong to think that way. Yeah, but it really isn't. It's not a matter of right and wrong. It's just a matter of acceptance and trust. Yeah, trust. Nothing wrong with the feeling. It's there. It's there. Simply because it's there. It's okay. There's nothing here that is here to fight with me. Life isn't contending with me. If anything, this thing that I think is me in my head is contending with life. It's fighting with life. It's fighting with what is. I have a feeling in this thing called me that I think I am in my head, this process of thoughts that I identify with as being this thing called me, this personality, this person that only exists up here, take the thoughts away, and I'm not, that guy ain't even there, right? Okay, but so anyway, so we got the thinking going on, we got the feeling going on, right? Nothing wrong with having them. They're gonna come, they're gonna go. It's when I take It's when I think that I know rather than know that I think that the thinking becomes a problem. It's when I think that I know rather than know that I think. Because if I think I know, I take things to heart. I make them to be serious. I take things that are impermanent, that are going to come and they're going to go, and I'm going to cling to them and attach to them, and I'm going to push and I'm going to pull, or I'm going to try to go into oblivion and act like they're not there in ignorance. Huh? But I don't have to take every thought to heart. I don't have to take every feeling to heart. I can have that choice on what to do with the feelings and thoughts as long as I'm aware of the feelings and thoughts that I am having. And I have to give myself the luxury of having those feelings and thoughts without telling myself they're right or wrong. To have a choice to decide what to do with those feelings and thoughts. Sit with that a minute. You might even rewind this a bit at that point where I began to speak here and chew on that a little while. The liberation comes in allowing myself the luxury to have feelings and thoughts. Not to fight with them, just for them to be there, right? Because if I can allow that, then I can be aware of the thoughts that are forming, of the feelings that are arising. And in that awareness, I have that choice. What am I going to do with this feeling? What am I going to do with this thought? Am I aware that this is a thought and it's not truth, it's just a thought? Am I aware that this is a feeling, that it isn't, it's just a feeling, just a thing that will come and go? Suffering's cool, it's okay. As long as I suffer the suffering. As long as I let what comes, let go, go. Because see, the suffering is like the breathing. It gives birth, and you hear people breathe like that when they're giving birth. The suffering, and we breathe with that pain. Right? We're not going trying to blow it out. No, we're going. We're taking it in. We're letting it go. Having the feeling, letting it go. But you can't let it go until you have it. And if you don't allow yourself to have it, how will you ever let it go? Yeah, right? Yeah. So in order for me to let go of feeling bad, or what we call bad, I want to get rid of that terminology, but for practical purposes, if I want to get rid of this feeling that I have aversion to, I have to feel it. Rather than deny it, rather than try to force it into being something, or put on, or cover it up, or any of that, I have to allow myself to have it. I have to allow myself to have some discomfort and pain in life to become compassionate. And life is faithful to put just the amount of pain on my plate every day that I need to grow and nurture appropriately and digest it in a timely fashion that I become blooming with compassion, right? Once again, the trouble comes in when I think there's something wrong. I'm not getting enough pain. I'm a glutton for pain now. Give me the pain so I can, and you see that go either way. You can say, give me the pain like I'm a badass. I can take it, man. Or you can go, give me the pain so I can grow more compassionate. And it's the same thing. It's just, it's a fight. No. In the early church, the Christians used to take things and they threw them over their back and they'd flagellate themselves. They'd whip themselves because they thought they could become more compassionate from the pain that they inflicted upon themselves. It don't work like that. You don't know how much pain it takes for you to grow any more than the flower knows how much sun or rain it takes for it to grow. The sun and rain come to it. It doesn't chase them, right? So you have to allow the pain and the feelings to just flow. You just got to go with the frickin' flow. Go with the flow. Don't fight anything. Don't try to force anything. Don't try to force conformity, and don't be conformed either. Don't let yourself be conformed or forced into thinking the way that the world or everybody else is thinking. You can't keep everybody happy anyway. Even yourself. You ever try to keep yourself happy? You don't do it. If we could keep ourselves happy, wouldn't we be happy all the time? The evidence is right there, right? But yet we think that we can. Life is what gives us life. Life is what gives us breath. Love is what gives us love. It breathes us. We don't breathe it. It's sort of like the old adage, the song sings itself. Okay? So the most skillful way to love and live to love is just to surrender to the life on its terms. This doesn't mean that I'm going to be a doormat, nor am I going to be a conqueror. But I can be more than a conqueror. I can be more than a doormat through love. I can be an overcomer with love, you see. You see somebody overcome with love, they're not fighting it. They're being melted by it. They cannot resist it if it's real love. We can be overcomers by the love. We can become irresistible with love. In the Tao Te Ching, the Lao Tzu, old wise Chinese dude, he goes that no one can contend with the master, for the master does not contend. You cannot resist what does not resist. It takes two to tangle, right? Yeah. So about a half hour into this, these were just some thoughts I was having this evening, and I didn't want to lose track of them, so I talked about them, and I'm probably going to throw them out on the net so that if you want to hear them and think about them, you can too, and we can both chew on this stuff together, and I hope it feeds your love. I hope it feeds your understanding and your ability and your desire to be compassionate in a world such as this. For all there is to love is all there is. Namaste.